Hello everyone, I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching this ABC 10 Plus recap of stories you may have missed. Officials have recovered the remains of 7 people killed in the Esparto fireworks warehouse explosion. We have the latest on the investigation. Then we're learning more about a 14-year-old drowning victim in Lodi. This ABC 10 Plus recap starts now. Investigators have recovered the remains of 7 people killed in the fireworks warehouse explosion in Esparto. DNA testing is now underway. Results are expected in the next 48 hours. The site is now moving from a recovery to a law enforcement investigation, with the state fire marshal taking the lead. ABC 10's Luke Clary is live on the scene with the very latest update. And Luke, this is just a heartbreaking time for many of those families.
Yes, it is, Chris, and I've been talking to families here on 86A, County Road 86A, just outside Esparto, and we've seen more and more investigators coming and going from the site, as we learned in a press conference this morning that some of the danger of the unexploded fireworks has dissipated over the last couple of days, and yet here, where the road closures remain, we still see families who are awaiting answers about their loved ones. Investigators combed through the debris field at the Esparto fireworks facility, where the remains of 7 victims were recovered. They'll be identified by DNA in coming days. Officials say they're working as quickly as they can.
I can tell you we've been operating empathetically and with the urgency that the situation demands. There have not been days off. There's no vacations taken here.
But it's been nearly a week since the explosion rocked this community. The family of the missing bringing food, water, and shade to sustain the long wait in the heat. An attorney now speaking on their behalf.
Now at this point, I think they realize that it's taking longer than they thought, but also that they're not really getting the answers that they wanted.
Samantha Ortiz represented one of the missing, Joel Melendez, half-brother to Jesus and Johnny Ramos, also still missing. Now she's representing their families.
I think being here, being together, is a sense for them of almost like having their family members with them. This is the last place where they were. There's some spirituality behind that.
She says the families want to know what started the fire, if the facility was equipped with sprinklers and other safety measures, and how firefighters responded. The Esparto fire chief emphasized that the investigation is now in the hands of the state fire marshal.
As much as you all want answers and the family want answers to these things, we have an obligation to make sure that this is done the right way and done thoroughly.
Family members still camping out beyond the road closures, the sprawling investigation, and the answers they seek just out of reach. And many questions are still swirling about how a Yolo County Sheriff's Lieutenant and an Esparto volunteer firefighter are connected to this property. The fire chief says that firefighter is currently on leave and that the fire department was aware of the fireworks on site, that they even conducted site visits, but he did not go into much detail beyond that. Reporting live in Esparto, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
Okay, Luke, keep us posted as you learn more. Meanwhile, we are continuing to dig into the deadly fireworks explosion there in Esparto that left 7 people dead. Investigative reporter Andy Judson has been speaking to sources close to the investigation, and tonight she has new information about licensing and oversight.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. There are 2 companies linked to the warehouse where the deadly explosion occurred: Black Star Fireworks and Devastating Pyrotechnics. Both had licenses linked to that property. The owner of Black Star, Craig Cutright, told me the night of the explosion that, quote, "none of our products are involved," and he pointed to Devastating Pyrotechnics. Well, tonight, a source close to the investigation said they are focusing on the possibility that the explosion came from Devastating Pyrotechnics. The source also said the warehouse facility has been used to store fireworks for 30 years, and that investigators suspect illegal fireworks were possibly being manufactured on site. The owner of Devastating Pyrotechnics, Kenneth Chi, who goes by Kenny, has a felony conviction, the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN reported. And through the state, Kenny was able to obtain multiple licenses. But what's now coming into question is how he may have obtained a federal license, which is also a requirement. Under federal law, people with convictions are barred from holding a fireworks license. Now, a fireworks expert says this is a major disconnect between federal and state regulations regulations and could be a critical factor. And we reached out to the federal entity that regulates fireworks, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, to confirm who is listed on that federal license and whether Kenny Chi held the document required to operate. A spokesperson directed us to CAL FIRE. It said the investigation is still ongoing. Chris.
Okay, Andy, thank you. Now, ABC10 did reach out to attorneys for Kenneth Chi, asking for his response to these allegations and if fireworks were being illegally manufactured or built on site. Take a look. His attorney said, quote, Kenneth Chi is innocent of any wrongdoing. Until the investigation is concluded, they plan to refrain from further public comment. Now, we also reached out to Black Star and Craig Cutright today. He did not respond. Keep in mind, we have been streaming the latest updates on the fireworks warehouse explosion live on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. You can find the latest news conferences and reaction from families as well. The app is free to download on your TV. Stay with ABC10 for the latest update.
Well, lawmakers and leaders in the petroleum industry are calling on Governor Gavin Newsom to stabilize the state's transportation fuel markets, warning that if the governor doesn't act soon, the cost could fall on drivers at the gas pump. This comes after the California Energy Commission sent the governor a letter with a list of recommendations as 2 refiners are set to close in the state. ABC10's Jeannie Nguyen explains the recommendations and how the governor is also responding.
It's important that the governor take action right now, this week, today.
In this letter to Governor Gavin Newsom, Senator Brian Jones is asking for a solution in an effort to prevent 2 major gas refineries from closing. Jones's concern is that if they close, the impacts will be felt by California drivers when paying for gas. This week, AAA reports the average cost of gas in California is at $4.56 a gallon.
It's like $2.50 a gallon in Texas and $4.50 a gallon here. Not only is it $2, it's like 50% more here.
Jones's letter comes after the California Energy Commission's vice chair, appointed by the governor, released this letter with the recommendations to ensure the state has adequate fuel supplies. Even though the CEC still encourages the state to invest in new clean and alternative fuels, it also says the state should work to retain in-state refineries and stabilize crude oil production.
We are at a tipping point. This is a time when we are going to see and need action from the governor, from the agencies that report to him, and from the legislature to implement all the things that Commissioner Gunda outlined in this letter.
During a press conference last week, Governor Newsom addressed the CEC's letter by saying he's having meetings with refiners and people in the industry.
Refineries all across the globe are struggling. You've seen national reports that reinforce these global trends. We're not immune from them. There's a large refiner in Texas, extraordinarily large, that went out of business.
But industry leaders say this is a California issue and the state needs to address it sooner than later.
We find ourselves in this place because of various policies that have been implemented in the state that makes it very difficult for refiners or producers to continue to do business here. And we have got to turn that around, or we will see more refineries that will leave the state, not less.
In Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC10.
The governor says he will be working with legislative leaders to make some considerations based off the recommendations listed in the CEC's letter.
Despite all the warnings, illegal fireworks caused major issues across Sacramento County. Just look at this. Tonight, Sacramento Metro Fire is sharing the magnitude of the damage. And here's what we know. Some buildings even caught on fire because of those illegal fireworks. ABC10's Roxanne Elias has the latest.
Sirens, fireworks, and working firefighters were the backdrop for this year's 4th of July weekend. This is video taken by Sacramento Metro Fire as they responded to multiple fires.
Once again, 4th of July was pretty wild throughout Sacramento County.
Battalion Chief Chris Vestal says they saw the worst of it on Friday. In Orangeville on Main Avenue, firefighters worked to put out a palm tree fire outside a convenience store as people began shooting fireworks at first responders on scene.
The number of illegal fireworks that are used, some of the disregard for safety concerns, as well as the well-being of either family and friends of people that are using those, or even some of the responders.
Vestal says people were seen lighting fireworks near dry grass and vegetation and in neighborhoods where they can land on roofs and businesses. On Monday, this was the aftermath of a commercial fire at a manufacturing warehouse on Reese Road in South Sacramento. Metro Fire says it's believed to be caused by illegal fireworks. Vestal says it's still too soon to tell how many citations were given over the weekend, but he says at least one person was arrested after he witnessed that person lighting fireworks towards them.
That was just something that was kind of eye-opening and really surprising. We're there to keep them safe. We're there to keep their businesses safe, their economic interests, and really the entire community.
Metro Fire also wants to remind people that just because people are celebrating, it doesn't mean everything else stops. On Friday, they responded to at least 300 fire calls, and sometimes most need more than one engine. Their message now is that fireworks are no longer able to be used after the 4th of July, and they want people to take the consequences seriously.
We're in the middle of fire season, which, as we know in California, extends year-round practically now. But we're in Sacramento. It's going to be 90 degrees the rest of the year. It's only going to continue to become drier. We're going to have wind events. Our vegetation's ready to burn.
In Sacramento, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Now, there are no reports of injuries related to fireworks this year, but firefighters say they see them every single year. Call 911 if you have an emergency. And it's not just fireworks that can spark a fire. ABC 10 created a special to prepare you for wildfires. We have what to pack in your go bag, we talk to survivors, and we learn how firefighters are training in more populated areas. Download the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app to watch California wildfires, preparing for peak danger.
Welcome back in. Tonight, a Sacramento family is grieving after a day at the lake ended in tragedy. A 14-year-old boy drowned, and now officials are warning others as the summer heats up. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has the story for us tonight.
Beneath a still surface, dangers on San Joaquin County's water wait in silence.
In a moment, something can happen, the current can change.
And a moment is all it took Thursday to turn an afternoon of laughter into an evening of loss. A 14-year-old boy drowned while at Lode Lake with family. The medical examiner's office identifying him as Ivan Holmes, but his sister says he was known as Chase Boyer. She says her younger brother stepped into a hidden underwater drop and never resurfaced. Family members, too devastated to go on camera, told us Chase loved to play basketball. He had just graduated from California Middle School. His first day at McClatchy High School was only weeks away.
Last Thursday was an absolutely tragic incident. I pray that no family has to endure something like that again.
But as summer swelters and nearly 700 miles of rivers and lakes across the county fill up, a dangerous season is only starting.
It has been a very busy season. I can give you an example of a call that we had last week. Was a female who was enjoying her raft and somehow she drifted away from shore, and because of the current was unable to get back. Fortunately, she had her cell phone with her. She called 911. That activated our boating safety unit, and they were able to go out to get her.
Underneath the quiet surface, close calls and tragedies, leaving authorities with a message.
We want you to enjoy the waters, but we want you to enjoy the waters responsibly. Whether you are boating on the water or you are enjoying the water from the shore somewhere, with your kids especially, always have a life jacket on them. The undercurrent is so strong that the waters can get very cold in certain areas. We do not want to see another family go through this.
In San Joaquin County, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
And family members of the teen are raising money for funeral expenses. And you can find a link in the story on our website over at abc10.com.
Welcome back. The death toll continues to increase in Texas after devastating floods hit the state over the weekend. At least 100 people are confirmed dead and more are still missing. Jacqueline Lee with ABC News has a closer look.
New video shows the dramatic rescue of a man in Kerrville, Texas. This RV surrounded by floodwaters. The Coast Guard coming in by helicopter and lifting him to safety. ABC's Maria Villarreal embedded with the Coast Guard as they search through the dense forest.
We got a FLIR camera on the front of the aircraft. It is a very good camera that we have, and it's also an infrared camera, so we can find heat signatures, things like that.
Crews out in force searching for survivors, with roads transformed into rivers after extreme flash flooding over the weekend. More than 400 first responders from 20 different agencies helping rescue nearly 1,000 people since Friday. Dozens still missing.
I need to tell my community and those families who are waiting, this will be a rough week. Primary search continues, and we remain hopeful.
This woman found clinging to a tree with floodwaters rushing below. Waters rising 26 feet in less than an hour over the weekend. Officials say many were asleep. The Guadalupe River overflowing, tearing through nearby Camp Mystic, where 750 girls were spending the holiday weekend. Some still reported missing, including 10-year-old camper Greta Toronzo from Houston. Among the dead, recent high school graduate and camp counselor Chloe Childress. Her family saying she lived a beautiful life of joy and faith, adding she was looking forward to dedicating her summer days to loving and mentoring young girls at Camp Mystic. Campers Sarah Marsh and Janie Hunt, just 8 and 9 years old, also killed.
For families to let go of their loved ones and not knowing they won't see them again, that's very devastation.
Just go hug your kids, because I got to tell you, I hugged my girls with tears in my eyes, because every one of us who's a parent, there but for the grace of God go I.
And search and rescue will be working around the clock, climbing through this dense forest of trees, trying to recover any survivors and any bodies. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Kerrville, Texas.
Just devastating images there, and I know the challenge here in Northern California is going to be this heat and possible fire danger for us, huh?
Yeah, it's a typical summer setup. To be honest, nothing out of the ordinary, especially for, early to mid-July. It's going to be warm. We're going to be looking at some triple digits, and of course that baseline fire danger just keeps going up and up because things keep getting drier and drier. 90 degrees is what made it to this afternoon in Sacramento, 94 in Stockton, 94 in Modesto, 97 Marysville, 90 in Placerville, 84 in Truckee, and 82 in South Lake Tahoe. Now, the average high is 92 in Sacramento, so we were technically just a smidge below average, and we'll chalk that up as a below average day today. But it's been a pretty nice stretch through the first few days, to be honest. It did start hot, mid to upper 90s, but then in Sacramento, 85, 86 for the 4th of July, 88 on Saturday. Yesterday, we climbed into those mid 90s. Today was a dip in temperatures, and we'll see that again tomorrow before we start to look for those triple digits by the end of the week. 88 in Sacramento at the moment, 90 in Stockton, 91 Vacaville, 93 Manteca and Modesto, 95 Colusa, 96 in Oroville, 80s and low 90s in the foothills, low 80s up in the high country. We've got that delta breeze developing as well, anywhere from about 10 to 15 miles per hour across the valley, closer to 20 miles per hour out through the delta. As we look downtown, 88 degrees. That is 6 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Winds about 10 miles an hour out of the south-southwest. We'll be in those mid 70s by 8 o'clock, low 70s by 9 o'clock, and about midnight tonight we're looking at the low 60s. Now we'll be off to a very mild start tomorrow, even a little bit cool, because we're looking at those mid to upper 50s across the valley. The average low is 59, so a little bit below normal. To start Tuesday morning, we may even see a few marine stratus trying to work their way into the valley, because it is going to continue to be breezy out of the delta all the way through the overnight. Lunchtime tomorrow, upper 70s, about 78 degrees. I've got a high of about 88. Now the average is 92, so this is going to be another day that's going to come in a little bit below average. Sunny and warm still, but below average. 88 in Sacramento, 85 in Vacaville, 89 Stockton, 93 in Modesto on Tuesday afternoon, 94 Colusa, 87 in Clear Lake, 91 in Angels Camp, 81 Truckee, 80 in South Lake Tahoe across the San Joaquin Valley, upper 80s and low 90s, and a very similar pattern, upper 80s and low 90s around the Sacramento metro area. Here are those winds. Again, breezy through this evening and remaining breezy out of the delta through the overnight hours. And we're going to see a similar setup tomorrow afternoon with another strong delta breeze. Here's what I mean as we go through the overnight. This is 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and you see perhaps a little bit of that marine stratus trying to come through the delta and in towards parts of the lower Sacramento Valley, upper San Joaquin Valley. Just something to keep in mind. Not expecting fog, but just some low clouds potentially. Tomorrow we're going to be about 88. That's 4 degrees cooler than normal. Very seasonal on Wednesday, but temperatures climb Thursday and Friday. I expect about 100, 101 degrees or so for the Sacramento area. That's because high pressure is going to be building in as the week goes on, and that's going to send our temperatures several degrees above average. But that high pressure is going to linger into the weekend and the start of next week, so we're not going to see another significant drop in temperatures. We're going to stay in the mid to upper 90s across the valley. As we look at the foothills the next few days, I've got upper 80s and then mid 90s for the Sierra, about 76 degrees on Wednesday. That's the coolest point before it starts to warm up once again, headed through the latter half of the week. Here in the valley, you see that warming trend. Tomorrow, upper 80s, but by Thursday, we are about 101 degrees, very similar on Friday. And again, temperatures do come back down. We're not looking at 100, but we're still going to be a little bit warmer than normal through the upcoming weekend.
101 degrees. Huh?
It's typical July. It is what it is.
We knew it was coming, right?
For sure.
Okay. Brendan, thank you.
Well, on Friday, President Trump signed the big, beautiful bill into law. So what does that mean for Americans and us here in California? Joining us now, Craig DeLuz from the California Republican Assembly. So for California, Craig, is there anything good about the big, beautiful bill?
Well, I think one of the things that's good has to do with the I don't want to call it tax cuts because it's really just a continuation of the tax rates for for Americans.
Mm-hmm.
We would have seen the largest tax increase in American history had this bill not passed. Now, the other benefit was the increase in the SALT deduction, meaning where you get to deduct your state and local taxes. There was an increase in the cap, which will greatly benefit high tax states like California and New York.
What should Californians be most concerned about negatively from the big, beautiful bill?
I honestly do not know I do not know that there's anything negative. One of the things you're going to see is a decrease in waste, fraud, and abuse, in particular in terms of Medicaid. I know that there's a lot of speculation out there about what's in the bill. The reality is Democrats have just been flat out dishonest about what's in the bill. You're going to see a decrease in that waste and fraud because there's a large number of group, about 4.8 million people who are able-bodied adults, who are not head of households, who are working age. And all it says is there's going to be a requirement that they either have to be looking for a job, getting an education, or they have to be working in order to stay on it. These are the people that they're saying, the millions of people that they're saying are going to lose their health care. Well, all you got to do is do what most of the rest of us do and look for work, get work, or work to get an education, or even volunteer for 20 hours a week.
One thing that you had mentioned in one of our previous meetings is about farm workers.
Yes.
I remember having this conversation with then Speaker Willie Brown. It's like, why do so many people cross the border, either legally or illegally? And he said, well, quite simply, there's jobs that they are needed to fill. They're being hired by wealthy Republican farmers. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden now, the President Trump now is like, hey, these are hardworking people. We're going to start leaving them alone. You had called that.
Well, I called it because I said the first thing that the Trump administration is going to do is they're going to go after those who are criminal, illegal aliens, people who have committed crimes since they've been here. They're going to work to get them out. They're going to go after those folks who just recently crossed into the country. They're going to work to get them out, especially those who already have multiple deportation orders against them. But then I said what he's also going to look to do is he's going to negotiate the opportunity for folks who have been here for an extended period of time, who've already been here. He's going to work to negotiate to try and find a way for them to normalize their residency here. And I think this is a good idea because what will start to happen is as their residency is normalized, what will happen is that they'll get better working conditions. These jobs will get better working conditions as well as better pay. And once you do that, you'll start to have a market rate for those jobs, what those jobs are paying, and start to see more Americans look at it and say, you know what, maybe that is a job I would do.
Do you feel that with a lot of his policies, he's sort of going, I don't want to say winging it, but like with tariffs, this is what's going to happen. No, I'm going to back off on this. We're chasing farmers in strawberry fields. Now we're not. Do you feel that there's a solid plan or it's changing on the fly?
Well, a lot of people have accused Donald Trump of being an ideologue. The truth is he's not. He will test something out. If either it's not working or it needs to make an adjustment, he will make an adjustment on the fly. That's what business owners do. That's what people who run successful companies do. And what he's doing is that he's implementing policies and then making adjustments to those policies to meet the needs of whatever particularly happens. Because keep in mind, whenever you do something, for every action, there is a reaction. So what he's trying to do is adjust the policies so that it actually works to benefit Americans.
Elon Musk is talking about starting a third party, says he's doing it now. If he does do that and it's mildly successful or even more, would that draw more from the Democratic side or the Republican side in terms of support?
I think it would definitely draw more from the Republican side because it generally has tended historically to be the Republican Party that has stood for and fought for reasonable spending or a recognition that we're heading over a fiscal cliff. Democrats, I hate to say this, don't appear to be worried about that at all. So I think it would, if it were to draw, it would draw from the Republicans. But then again, there are a number of other issue areas where Elon Musk is probably not in line with Republicans. So I don't necessarily see it being a big deal. As long as we have the winner-take-all electoral college system, I don't see a third party really being successful.
That seems to be the conventional wisdom on that. Craig DeLuz, always good to see you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We are here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.
We are in day one of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns.
Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast, whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.